The Enlightenment is an ideological movement that appeared in France in the 18th century that proposed the following principles. Mainly, it was the faith in human reason and intelligence, progress achieved throughout the scientific advantages, and the criticism of the old regime. It was a very important movement. These thinkers criticized the political and social structures of the ancient regime. They were able to shape some of the changes that took place in these years. They talk about the essential of the education. Learning and teaching are essential. People must learn as much as possible and share their knowledge in order to educate and enlighten the society. This is why this period is also called Enlightenment. The reason is the only real source of knowledge, rather than irrational beliefs and dogma. Science and technological progress would lead to economic growth and improve people's well-being. Equality and liberty are crucial. Many enlightened thinkers believe that a better society would only be possible if all men were free and equal before the laws. Enlightenment ideas are going to be spread throughout the academies, salons, books, newspapers, etc., journals, pamphlets, etc. Some Enlightenment thinkers, such as D'Alembert and Diderot, created an extensive collection of writings called the Encyclopedia, where it summarized not all the knowledge from many areas of study in alphabetical order. Some of the main thinkers that talk about the need of change in politics were Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Rousseau. Voltaire favored a strong monarchy. However, he also thought its powers should be limited by the parliament, following the English model. Montesquieu argued for the separation of powers. This meant that the three branches of government, legislative, executive, and the judicial branches, should be separate from one another. This would stop power being concentrated in just one person. Rousseau introduced the idea of popular national sovereignty. He argued that power resided with the people rather than the crown, and that politics should be based on agreement between the citizens and their government, that is signed in the social contract. One way of a new form of government that developed in some European countries in the 18th century is going to be the Enlightenment despotism. Its objective was to combine the absolute monarchy, the despotism, with the Enlightenment ideas, aimed at modernizing the country and improving people's well-being. For example, the main kings that are going to continue with Enlightenment despotism, for example, Catherine the Great of Russia, or Joseph II of Austria, or Frederick II of Prussia, for example, or Charles III in Spain, they are going to keep their absolute power throughout the centralized government that they're going to implement their policies. They appointed the enlightened thinkers to important positions, for example, as royal ministers to help them taking decisions. They tried to make change peacefully through education and new laws. It's everything summarized in that last sentence, that it's everything for the people but without the people. Enlightenment despotism, it's going to fade as a form of government because it maintained the privilege of these state systems and did not introduce really important reforms to make all people free and equal before the law. I have a video here that explains these three main: Frederick II of Prussia, Catherine the Great of Russia, and Joseph II of Austria. The economist ideas of the Enlightenment are very important and are focused on physiocracy and economic liberalism. Physiocracy is the belief that the wealth of a nation derives from its natural resources. So they believe that agriculture is the main source of wealth for a country, that craftsmen and trade are secondary activities, and that the state Absolute monarchs should not intervene in the economy, since protectionist measures inhibit international trade. On the other hand, other ideas introduced by the Enlightenment are the economic liberalism proposed by Adam Smith in The Wealth of Nations. The basic principle of economic liberalism is that the state should not intervene in the process of production or exchange of goods. Instead, it should allow individual business owners to create wealth. So they're going to promote freedom of production, free trade, free competition, etc. This is the beginning of what we know as capitalism. As a result of these politics, we have to understand that the internal commerce is going to grow, okay, with the increase of agricultural artisan production, improvements of road, constructions of canal, transport of goods, etc. And in the external commerce, the colonies are going to provide like raw materials, precious metals, etc., and slaves. This is going to lead up to the triangular trade. I recommend you to click in here that talk more about what is the triangular trade, and also in your book you have more information about this. You have here videos and activities to the main thinkers, Enlightenment thinkers.